I'm Chris Hahn, the Aggressive Progressive. Check out a new episode of the Aggressive Progressive podcast every Tuesday. You know, the election is heating up just as the year is winding down. Stick with me. I'll tell you the truth as I see it. Download the Aggressive Progressive on Pandora or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, it's Mark Goodman.
And I'm Alan Light.
On today's podcast, Record Store Day founder Carrie Colleton is joining us to discuss the April 20th RSD special releases.
Plus, we'll talk live with our audience, the Sound Up Pod Squad, and find out who still listens to vinyl. And some updates from the Beatles universe.
Oh, good. Sound Up with Mark Goodman and Alan Light, the only music podcast that matters. Get it on Pandora, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
What's good, y'all? This is Breeze Brewing from the Mighty Juggernauts. And make sure you subscribe and download the podcast, Library Rap, the hip-hop interviews with Tim Einenkel. Hip-hop journalism on the highest level.
Let's get into it live. Yeah. I'm in a state of relaxation. I'm the best, facts face it. Where I'm from, niggas take trips with no pack cases. Up in court, it's no back statements. The judge
West Garfield Park, Chicago MC Philmore Greene has just dropped his latest project, Knowledge and Power, and he joins me now on Library Rap, the hip-hop interviews with Tim Einenkel. Philmore Greene, thank you so much for being here, man. I really appreciate it.
Man, thank you for having me. You know, it's an honor to be.
So that's something to begin. You grew up in West Garfield Park, Chicago. Can you kind of bring us into what was it like growing up then, and how do you feel this kind of shaped you as the artist you are today?
Oh man, what is it growing up? What was it like growing up in West Garfield Park, also known as K-Town? That's the area I'm from. Each record, beautiful picture, 1, 2, and 3. Writing those records are similar to it's like a reflection of where I'm from. You know what I mean? The very first beautiful picture, which came out in 2012, featuring my homegirl Tila Robinson. It was really about the area I'm from. You know how we were poverty stricken. We saw some of everything coming up. You know, I was just telling one of my associates this yesterday. You know, I came up around everything, you know, anything you can name, you know, from when I really say it, you know, pimps, prostitutes, hustlers, you know, I got cousins that has college degrees, very successful. So it was like I grew up around everything. When I was a young kid, I accepted the fact that color didn't matter. You know, there's only one race. You know, I grew up next door to a, you know, multiracial, you know, couple. And their sons were close friends to me because we were, you know, next door neighbors. So I grew up around everything, you know. Growing up in that area really showed me a lot, and it turned me into who I am. You know, I'm very conscious of, you know, how I want things to be for that neighborhood, you know, because I grew up with, you know, it was everything there. I wouldn't change a thing, but it was chaos, but it was beautiful, you know.
You talk about a Beautiful Picture 1, 2, and 3, and, you know, Beautiful Picture 3 is obviously on this album, Knowledge and Power, and it's, you know, it's a great track. It's very inspirational, and it's kind of really talks about how, you know, seeing beauty around you no matter what, right? In your surroundings and your upbringing. Can you talk about the trilogy of these songs, and what kind of what was the inspiration behind coming up with tracks Beautiful Picture 1, 2, and 3, and would there be a Beautiful Picture 4?
Yeah, it will be a Beautiful Picture 4, 5, 6, until we can keep this thing going, you know. Thank you for listening. And it was just something that I could put together, some words I could put together to make people say, you know, what is it that he's talking about? Let me check this out. You know, with the music, you always eat with your eyes first. It's like food, so you put the titles and it makes people go listen to them based on the titles. Those that really love the music and get into the credits and things in that nature. But it's just what it is, the beautiful picture. We're all in this big frame, and they may paint, our areas, the inner cities of Chicago, to be something else. Even though you may paint it that, it's better on the other side. It's a beautiful thing.
You read the titles, Beautiful Picture 1, Beautiful Picture 2, and Beautiful Picture 3, those album, and I can't help but think of Skyzoo's Beautiful Decay, right? Very similar themes and kind of purposes to the song, and so it was great when listening to this album and I come upon the track What Your Motivation, which also features Skyzoo. Can you the collaboration is great. Can you talk about how did this collaboration happen? And then also what I really do appreciate is that there's a change of music underneath Skyzoo's verse. Can you talk about what was the reason behind that change of music?
So which part you want me to answer first? Because I'm gonna go with how the song came about first. We booked Skyzoo in 2019, brought him to Chicago. We players over here. We put him in a 5-star hotel. Where we went, it was I'm kind of known in the city. I got a nice relationship with lots of people. So, everywhere we went, they would say, you guys are in good hands. Me and my people, we treated them nice. You know what I mean? Not knocking any other promoters, but we treated them nice, And we took them to the Taste of Chicago. I don't know if you guys know about that. Took them to the Taste of Chicago. Then we went to record What's Your Motivation that night. We were dog tired, walking all day, just moving around the city. He was fresh here from the airport. We went and did a couple interviews, and later that night we did the record. And I just told him what the hook was about. The hook is about growth. You take a man and you take a man as he's growing. When he first starts off, he wants to, when he's younger, 20 to 17, he wants to chase the women. Then they grow up to get in the clubs and you want to buy the bar out. Then you grow up and, if you listen to the hook is about growth. So he did that part, right? I did my parts. So when he came back,
I'm chasing a ghost that was waiting from by the same steps where he sold dope on the pavement. You grow up near the best and you get a road to what greatest. Whether 12 skinnies or what record sales can get me, I chose to see what a chart do. Open seats like a carpool, truth over the counter. Know your reach like a bar stool, baby. I threw you truth and let you take it at will. If you was labeled as a youth, then you was labeled to kill. Now what's your motivation? Fully loaded for loaded statements.
That beat wasn't on that record. Different beat we recorded over. So when he came back, he did his verse, and when I heard what he was rapping about and who he was rapping about in the verse, when we decided to change the beat, Chuck, Hadi, and I said I wanted to get him something. I want his beat to change because he's talking about Biggie Smalls on my song. One of the greatest rappers of all time. He's talking about Biggie Smalls on my song, on my album. So I said, we got to change the beat up, like on some All About the Benjamins type shit. So we went through a few beats to match the tempo and everything. And I don't think Sky really liked the beat changing idea. He really likes the OG beat. When I tell you, when Hadi played that record and it fit like a glove, because the beat I rapped over was more mellow, and when it get to his, it's like spooky in a good way, but it got that Hadi flavor on it, Rashid Hadi flavor. So his verse fit like a glove, and he rapped about Biggie on it, And motivation, it just fit with the theme of the record. What's your motivation? What are you motivated by? Are you motivated by chasing women? Do you want to feed your family? Do you want to get property, stocks, and real estate? What do you want to do? Like, what's your motivation? It's just my question to the people, and a lot of times I ask those questions. I use myself as the reference, just to let you know, like, I'm not pointing the finger because I'm using myself as an example. So that's what that's about, Motivation. Salute to Skyzoo. We got Time on the last record. Good, man. It's my brother.
And you hear throughout this album, you definitely hear your motivation. I think it's a lot about, and you mentioned it before, but it's a lot about where you grew up and West Garfield Park, and you do definitely talk about your surroundings a lot, and there's the Live from the Hideout, the intro track. It's to me it comes up as a quote unquote, I guess, hard look about where you're from, but not like a scary look, just kind of like, hey, this is where I'm from, and then kind of sets the tone as an intro track for the rest of the album. Can you talk about the importance of this first track, kind of setting off the theme of the album for you?
Well, the first track is beautiful the way that track was created, right? It's so beautiful. I can break it down, and we actually documented everything, So we went to this cannabis fest out in Muskegon, Michigan. It was just being legalized out there, and it was so dope. The mayor was at the cannabis fest. The mayor of Muskegon, Michigan was there. So we're at this cannabis fest, me, Chuck, Rashid, and Reese, Rashid's cousin. We're at the fest. We had a blast. We rocked the show. Everybody loved us. Salute to the homegirl Simone. They loved us. And on the way back, Rashid was so inspired by the weekend that he was like, I want to make a beat in the car. He said, I want to make a beat in the car right now. So Chuck was like, Chuck was driving. He was like, okay, let's set up. So he had his laptop. He hooked it up he hooked the beat machine. He did some shit, and everything worked. It was playing over the speakers. He had the phone out, and he had the beat machine going, and Rashid Hadi made that beat in the car from Muskegon, Michigan. 3 to 5 hour drive, and we're in the car vibing out while he's making this beat from the sample to chopping it up and everything. And I'm recording everything. I'm documenting everything with my phone in the back. I cut it up, and then by the time he was done with the beat, we were still on the road. I said, you know what? Keep the beat playing. I'm going to write my verse. So it all was created in the car. You know what I mean? And to put the cherry on the top, coming back from Muskegon, Michigan, the venue we played at was called The Hideout. And Chuck was like, okay, shit, let's call this one Live from the Hideout. And that's how that was birthed. So that kind of like set the theme up. The Survival Scroll, Live from the Metropolis, this was Live from the Hideout. And I think I'm going to keep the theme of that, like, as all my intros, live from wherever. But that's how Live from the Hideout came about. We were literally in the car, and we created that song in the car from Muskegon, Michigan, and performing at the venue called The Hideout.
Hey, it's Mark Goodman.
And I'm Alan Light.
On today's podcast, Record Store Day founder Carrie Colleton is joining us to discuss the April 20th RSD special releases.
Plus, we'll talk live with our audience, the Sound Up Pod Squad, and find out who still listens to vinyl, and some updates from the Beatles universe.
Oh, good. Sound Up with Mark Goodman and Alan Light, the only music podcast that matters. Get it on Pandora, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Chris Hahn, the Aggressive Progressive. Check out a new episode of the Aggressive Progressive podcast every Tuesday. The election is heating up just as the year is winding down. Stick with me. I'll tell you the truth as I see it. Download the Aggressive Progressive on Pandora or wherever you get your podcasts.
Did you know? I mean, is that something when you're writing that you know that this is going to be the intro track to the album?
I don't know yet, but I have a feeling. Like when I hit a beat, certain beats have intro written all over it. I don't know if you guys are you guys musicians? Do you play anything?
I'm a very poor piano player.
Okay, so you're a little inclined, so you're a little inclined with it, but you know that feeling. You know when something should go first. You know what I mean? Like it has that. Okay, this is about to happen. Feel to it, and it was magic. When we recorded the record, I knew this was gonna go first on some project. So that was it.
You mentioned growing up in West Garfield Park, and there's a lyric on the track "Managed Money," which is pretty much it's a few words, but it says "Get over for me what I want to do, I gotta do." Can you talk about these lyrics and what's the meaning behind it, and why do you feel it's something that you have to do in terms of ghetto reform?
Simply because, ghetto reforming, what I want to do, I gotta do. Work for 7 years, no breaks, no sabbaticals. It's something that I want to do, man. And I'm gonna do it. I'm taking the baby steps now to, doing what I need to do to better my area, because, a lot of the guys I came up with in that area, if they had the person with the mindset like me around them every day, some of them probably would still be here. Some of them would still be here, whether it's jail or death. So you never know. And it's happened to someone very close to me, a few people very close to me. So that's what it is. I want to do better. I want to see people win. I want to, pay it forward and make the neighborhood something it's never been. Give kids vehicle raffles before they leave for college, shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's, something that's gonna make people remember who I am and make them proud of where they come from even more than they are right now. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful place. I wouldn't change a thing, and I say that a lot, but I just want it to be better as far as like empowerment and giving back. You know what I mean? And I've been around there. Now it's my neighborhood. I grew up around there. My dad was born in that area. My mother been in that area since she was 3. They don't live in that area no more, but it's deeply rooted. So, we love by everybody. I think I'm a good guy, so the love is there. So I got the support from everybody, you know what I mean? And I just want to make that happen, from shooting movies to community centers, summer tournaments, which we already got going, my brother, and it's just about that, man, uplifting the community and inspiring others in a better way.
And I think that's it's interesting. You listen to this album and everything you talk about, you could tell there's love behind the message, right? And even the people that you have on the album. And I would love for you to talk about the female artist on Managed Money. She's just incredible. Who is she, and what do you feel that she brings to this track that maybe another female artist couldn't bring to the track?
Born to lead us, the original forgotten king of humanity, in the purple dashiki, the ruler to the east, the blacklisted by badges that stay smudgy. Unity is imperative. The world is ugly, unbelievable. Every shade of brown.
Her name is Story Devereaux. Story Devereaux. She's a amazing vocalist. She's a spoken word. She does it all. She makes the hell out of some cranberries during the Thanksgiving and Christmas season. She sold like 500 cans of that shit. It was phenomenal. But she's a great woman, and she can really sing, and she's very creative. She brought that exactly what she spoke about. she brought exactly what she spoke about, that motherly feeling to the track, speaking to everyone that needed to hear it, especially with the details in some of her words. Rest your head on my bosom. You know, that's something your grandmother tell you. And the tone of her voice at the time when she was saying it was like, I really want to sit down and listen to her type thing. You know, that's what she brought. And then when you meet her, shit, it's even much more intense. You know, she's just a beautiful human being. Like she can really sing and do spoken word. She's gifted. Story Devereaux, like look her up. She's a Chicago native, out south, south side Chicago. Very, very, very talented.
In the final track you leave us, Restore the Feeling, is, I feel like it pairs up perfectly with the first track of the album, because it's, I think, essentially talking about the same, very similar topics, but there's this, the music underneath it makes it very, very, very hopeful track at the end. Like, you feel like something's good's going to happen out of this after we leave this album. Can you talk about creating this track, and when did you know that this would be the final track of the album?
Well, creating the track, I was so much in the zone. Like, I don't even remember recording the track, to be honest. People get on here and make shit up. And I'm just being honest. Like, I don't even remember recording it. It was that I was in the zone so much. And it was dope. Like her, the vocals within the sample and the way Hadi chopped it up, it was just like, it was soulful. You spoke to me, and like I said, I was in the zone. And I don't even remember writing it. But it was, what was the second part of the question again?
When did you?
Why did it come last?
Yeah, when did you know that this was going to be the last track of the album?
In all honesty, we called an audible. We called an audible for that one to go last, because Bolo was going to go last at first. We got these things, Chuck does the track listing, and when he come back, he's spot on with everything. He does the sequencing of the records, and if we feel like something should be higher, we will voice our opinions, and everybody will vote on it, and that's how it will go. But we pulled an audible the night we were uploading it, and we said, let's switch out Bolo for Restore the Feeling, because that had I don't know. I heard it going last. You know what I mean? I heard that record going last. That was it's a statement record. So I wanted to leave off on a good note, being that the project was, everything's a good note. I take that back. The whole project's a good note. But we wanted to leave it on that note, the statement record. That's a huge statement. I got off a lot of steam on that record, on some of my issues with what's going on, so it's just me venting, man, and that record was an audible. We put it last, and I think we did a good job. You just said it. You just said it goes well with the first track.
Hey, I'm Mark Goodman.
And I'm Alan Light.
On today's podcast, in celebration of International Guitar Month, Pete Townsend of The Who will join us.
Pete went deep with us into his relationship with the guitar and with music in general, the new Broadway version of Tommy. He clarified the status and the future of The Who, and much, much more.
Sound Up with Mark Goodman and Alan Light, the only music podcast that matters. Get it on Pandora, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Hey, it's Mark Goodman.
And I'm Alan Light.
On today's podcast, Record Store Day founder Carrie Colleton is joining us to discuss the April 20th RSD special releases.
Plus, we'll talk live with our audience, the Sound Up Pod Squad, and find out who still listens to vinyl, and some updates from the Beatles universe.
Oh, good. Sound Up with Mark Goodman and Alan Light, the only music podcast that matters. Get it on Pandora, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
there's such, as I said, I mean, I'm going to continue to say there's such, you could tell there's such love put behind this project. Is there a record on this project that, you know, you're proud, you're kind of the most proud of to this day of, you know, writing it, or even just like how it turned out, because the work you put into it, you know, was a lot more than maybe the other records you did?
Oh man, it's tough. It's tough, to be honest. You know, it's tough. But if I had to choose for the sake of choosing, I would say perfect for the interview. I would say the whole project. But Manage Money, Follow My Lead, featuring my brother Peter Jericho. I mean, you got Skyzoo rapping about Biggie Smalls on a record. How could you not love that one? Beautiful Picture 3 with Natasha Robinson. You know, All That I Know. I touched on the Great Migration, and it's still intertwined with that ghetto. It's just, it's tough. It's tough, man. Like, it's 10 records. You got Vic Spencer, Rashid ID on Cool Breeze. It's tough, you know. It's very tough, but I would go with Beautiful Picture 3. Beautiful Picture 3. And manage Money and Follow My Lead. See, I still can't pick.
I don't expect you to, because I know it's like it's one of those things where
it's tough.
You pick.
That's a good question. It's tough though. That's tough.
You know, I cannot not ask you about the cover art for Knowledge and Power.
Ask me whatever you want.
I'm going to ask you.
Ask me. Don't hold back.
You know, you see the cover art, and you know it's a man facing us. He has a baseball cap and a hoodie, which reads "Lead" on it. On one side of him, which seems like a white person's arm with a gun, and on the other side is a brown skin arm with books. Can you talk about this cover art, and how did this cover art come to be, and kind of what does it mean, and what should we take away from it?
Okay. First off, I would like to say salute to my brother Isiaka. He took the actual photo. That's a photo of me. And my brother Aofex, he painted the actual photo. You know what I mean? He created the artwork. This artwork was created back in, I want to say 2018 or 2019, early 2019. You have me. That's an actual photo of me, actual facial expression. And the hoodie is Lead. Salute to my family leaders. It's an actual brand, clothing brand, staple clothing brand in Chicago. OG Diego gave me the hoodie. I did a photo shoot in it, and I love that photo so much to where as though I said, you know what, I'm going to make this a cover art piece, but it just can't be me standing there like this because my face is saying something. So I was having a conversation one day, and we got really deep into the history and, you know, what was going on at the time and Trump, and that sparked the whole Knowledge and Power vision. What I mean? And when you look at this picture, right, I'm standing there. The hoodie says Lead. Leaders hat. Leaders is the brand. So I'm the leader. I always feel like I'm the leader of what I do because I inspire people. But you go over to the black hand, history, finance, religion. Those are 3 subjects they don't teach in schools anymore. They stripped those away from the whole Illinois curriculum, Chicago curriculum. Like they don't teach that in school anymore. That's something we need to know as a people. You know, that's how we move forward. You got to know where you come from. You got to be financially literate. And you got to know yourself and your faith. You know, you step out on faith, you grow wings. You know, you have to know yourself. All that comes with knowing yourself and knowing your background, right? That's knowledge. Black hand is hand in the book because that represents how my people need to, you know, keep doing what we're doing, but do it on another level now. You know what I'm saying? Show love. Show love to one another pay it forward, help the next man. You know what I mean? Create that money, let it circulate, and keep it going. That's how we build that wealth. That's what it's all about. And you go on the other side, the side that represents power, that side represents knowledge. Then you go over to the other side of the cover art that represents power. And like I just said, back to the red, white, and blue book, that represents America, the colors. So let's go to the power side. You got the white arm. One of the homies asked me, why you putting the white arm? If you zoom in, there's a tattoo on the arm. And I normally don't get a gems away. I just make people study it. But it has MAGA. He has a MAGA tattoo. I don't even have to say nothing else. You see what I'm saying? Like police brutality. We can go back to Trayvon Martin. Like it's so many. And that's what represents that. That's what represents that. The cops that make it look bad for the good cops. You see what I'm saying? Make America great again. We had a whole president in there, that was just saying what he wanted to say and do what he wanted to do, doing what he wanted to do. So that's what represents that, and that's the power. I put the gun there because guns do what? They draw emotions, a emotion about it. You know why? It don't matter if it's on a picture or in real life. You're going to look at it and you're going to say, what's going on? You see what I'm saying? So that's just to get your attention. And I'm just standing there nonchalantly and just, I want to reel you in. I want to make it an event. So what's this situation about? Knowledge and power, and you can't have one without the other. You see what I'm saying?
Also what stands out to me is the parental advisory sticker warning. Is that also part of the cover art? It's just to think about like, growing up and remember seeing those stickers on like NWA, right? Album covers and stuff like that. I just like thinking about why they started using parental advisory stickers and what that meant. And so why did you include the parental advisory sticker?
For one, it was dope. AOFX painted that. Like you can't find that one nowhere else. You know what I'm saying? He painted that and it was dope. It was pretty dope. But I just put it right there simply because, if you're underage, I might say some things that may be inappropriate for certain children. So I just put that there to be safe. It's there. It's self-explanatory. Parental advisory, explicit content. It's very explicit. It's not my most explicit work. But something I say to really get the attention of some people, you might have to throw a few F-bombs in there,
What's also, what I think is kind of incredible what you have been able to do in terms of being an artist, especially during this time of pandemic when you have a daughter and I think you have two daughters, right? And one's 4. Three daughters. I'm sorry. One's 4, so she's home. With you. Just being able to find time to create and create these projects as an artist. You've released essentially two projects in I feel like less than one in 2020 and one now. How have you found time to do all this? Just like feel like you do. I have 2 kids myself, so it's just like. You're there for the whole day with them, and then the last thing I feel I could do is just think about anything else besides like, once the kids go to bed, just want to go to bed myself.
Oh man, it's been a lot of when we talking about this situation, like it's like, okay, you have to give time to the people that require it, right? And then you still have to find time for self, you still got to find time for self. So what do? I sacrifice a lot of sleep. And I know I have to, manage that better down the line, the older I get. But it's like I sacrifice a lot of sleep. It's a lot of long nights because I must record. I got a mission. I have to get projects out. And I got more on ice, develop a catalog. And it's like some nights I want to just sit back and watch SportsCenter. You know what I mean? But the drive in me says, okay, you could be watching this on mute, sitting on the couch with this microphone right here. You see what I'm saying? So some nights I have SportsCenter on mute with the setup right in front of me. You know what I mean? So it's like I try to fit everything in, man. I think I'm doing a good job. But it's like if you want something that bad, you gotta make the time for it. And also keep everybody else satisfied as well. So it's a lot of sleepless nights, man. And it's paying off, it's going to get better, but it's paying off.
I mean, I really feel this project is it shows that payoff. I mean, it's a great project to listen to, and it's one of those projects that you need to listen to every song on it. You shouldn't just skip around, skip around. I mean, of course you're gonna find your favorites, but of course, it's a complete project. You listen to the whole thing. And
I appreciate that, man.
Of course, man. He's Philmore Greene. His latest project is Knowledge and Power. It's great and honor to have you on Library Rap, the hip hop interviews with somebody. Thank you so much for being here, man. I really appreciate it.
It's an honor for having me, man. First to many, thank you, brother.
You writing Dr. Seuss, I got the knowledge to write an almanac. Chi-town, it feels good to be a part of that. Round here niggas whisper, give me all of that. You get poked for your J's, jewels, and starter caps. All your re-up money, weed, and all your crack. I run the night with the insomniacs. We bring heat to wherever. In December, we change a thermostat. I wasn't raised around platinum plaques. I was raised around killers and gangsters, and you can grab a pack. Work a jab, and when it's done, you get 100 back. Get a whip and play it smart to reach 100 stacks. Street dreams are made of these. Let your money flip easy like a natural born acrobat. They give us food with log clogging your cardiac. They give us heart attacks. We eating all of that. Interviews for jobs and they don't call us back. Shorties in school for knowledge and get robbed for that. Please reform the Common Core. The state pen overcrowded cause niggas singing like the Commodores. We eat Chinese rice and play the corner stores.
Hey, it's Mark Goodman.
And I'm Alan Light.
On today's podcast, Record Store Day founder Carrie Colleton is joining us to discuss the April 20th RSD special releases.
Plus, we'll talk live with our audience, the Sound Up Pod Squad, and find out who still listens to vinyl. And some updates from the Beatles universe.
Oh, good. Sound Up with Mark Goodman and Alan Light, the only music podcast that matters. Get it on Pandora, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Hey, I'm Mark Goodman.
And I'm Alan Light.
On today's podcast, in celebration of International Guitar Month, Pete Townsend of The Who will join us.
Pete went deep with us into his relationship with the guitar and with music in general, the new Broadway version of Tommy. He clarified the status and the future of The Who, and much, much more.
Sound Up with Mark Goodman and Alan Light, the only music podcast that matters. Get it on Pandora, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.